And away we go. Alright, let's see what me, Risk, or Eric have sent in our group chats since the last time we recorded a episode somehow. Alright, so starting off with, there's a video by a pink-haired woman. There's a text that's embedded within the video that reads, "Getting a chip in my brain to pay my rent." Let's see how that goes.
A chip implanted into my brain. There's a study happening in LA, and I'm going over there to get this chip implanted in my brain so that I can pay my rent. They're going to compensate me heavily for my participation and all the data that they retrieve. So you're basically talking to a future robot. I'm so excited.
Oh, oh dear. Okay, it has to be asked. Why are people so excited about this? Why do they think that getting a computer attached to their body parts is going to make their lives any better? Now, of course, I find this funny. Then again, at the same time, it's just concerning if everyone is like, yes, I'm going to get a brain in my chip. That doesn't make any sense. Then again, neither does this, in my opinion. I feel like there's more I would have said. However, I just I will say, if this so-called chip that is attached to your brain, it is not made or manufactured by a third party or company, then yeah, I don't see why not. However, this is some I'd assume there has to be some company or third party that's creating these brain chips that's going to be implanted to people's brains. That's my concern. What is what is the benefits for the company, not the person getting the chip? What data is going to be extracted from this technology from the person? Like there has to be some kind of data that's going to be extracted or generated coming from one person's brain. Imagine the potential of personalized targeted adverts to these people. That the adverts is one of the biggest aspects to brain chips. If there's data that is generated and extracted from someone's brain, imagine the adverts that's going to be targeted non-stop. Imagine what thoughts you could be thinking without even saying. And then boom, there's an advert popping up on your device, which is in line with whatever thoughts came to your mind. That is scary. Very, very scary indeed. There's also many other problems, however, yeah, I'm getting into this too deeply to continue. Well, I will say that anyone who is curious about brain chips or whatever Elon Musk is working on, I know he's working on Neuralink, which is a somewhat similar concept. There's gonna be videos on YouTube. I'm not gonna just say go on Google and look it up. There's also videos on YouTube discussing brain chips and other shows. Such a scenario like it in some of the episodes of some shows. Like this isn't new. It has been talked about before, and it could happen again. Wait, what am I saying again? This hasn't happened yet. This will happen eventually. The only way it doesn't happen if people who are made aware of discussions like this, they say, no, I don't want this. This is not good. I don't see any benefits from my perspective whatsoever. And then they'll just stop. At least for now, they'll stop. They'll keep going until eventually there isn't enough outcry or outrage to stop these operations or implementations from even happening. Okay, so next video I've sent to the lads in the group chat is from a guy talking about uh, social media 2.0. I will play the audio for you right now.
People are waking up. This is a revolution. Social media 2.0 is happening. I've been on calls this morning with engineers and designers about how we can coordinate this to make this happen so we can get product out to you and hear your feedback. So I'm a product manager. I've done 2 startups in the past. Like, this is my bread and butter. And I've never been so optimistic that our generation is going to make such a better social media that has ever been imagined. You're going to love it. I truly can't wait.
Now, of course, he never specified what this project is for Social Media 2.0. However, given by his reaction, it's very ambitious. Now the question is how much funding is going towards this so-called startup, and what is their user base that is so passionate about this so-called project? And I think money today is certainly an issue for a lot of people. If there is other ways, any other way to go about with starting something, a new business, or getting by with expenses that we have, that would be great. However, such a reality like that doesn't exist. So this is the best we can get. This is the best we can get. And this and that video I just played, Social Media 2.0, I also sent it to the Project Bits team chat with me, Eric, Shadowminer, Froyo, Sam, Expanser, and Skip. Waiting on their reactions on the matter. I doubt there would be because I haven't seen any activity from them in years. However, I assume they're still involved. There just hasn't been much been going on for Project Bits, guys, where the relaunch fight is a part of. So, of course, there's a lot of ideas about how to go ahead with the new age of social media. For me, I'd say we should look more towards social community platforms rather than social media. There should be more of an emphasis on the social part than anything. There's going to be some aspects of media involved. There has to be more than just the social aspect of how we communicate and look at content online. There should also be an emphasis on community as well. Hence, social community. That's what I was hoping to look towards in terms of the project that me, Eric, and Shadowminer are working on primarily. And whilst progress has been slow, it's still happening. There is still something going on behind the scenes. And I do hope that eventually we can make a difference for the better. I'm not expecting perfection. I do hope eventually in the next few years we will see changes in the social networking landscape where we can eventually see positive changes in how we communicate with each other online, as well as how content is promoted across our wavelengths. Yeah, I feel like there should be more to what I've just said. Somehow it's not coming to me as much or easily like before. That's just me. Hopefully, with enough willpower, determination, belief. Did I say motivation? All of those things. Bundle them up, balance the playing field, then we can see a difference for the better. It's not going to be easy. It is only the beginning. And surely, there will be enough people in this world that would want to see some change, to see changes like that happening in their communities as it is online. And that is that is as of yet the videos or posts that's been sent both on the podcast group chat and Project Bits team chats as of the last time I recorded a podcast episode. With that all being said, let's get right into the news. First group of Spanish passengers disembark from Hantavirus hit cruise ship. A first group of passengers, all Spanish nationals, has begun disembarking from a cruise ship affected by a Hantavirus outbreak as it heads to Tenerife's port of Granadilla. Spanish authorities said the passengers will be transported from the port to the airport by military buses before being flown to Madrid on a government aircraft. Upon arrival in Madrid, the passengers will be taken to hospital facilities and placed under quarantine as a precautionary measure. Officials said none of the passengers has shown symptoms of infection so far, but all will undergo testing by Spanish health authorities to ensure they remain asymptomatic. Yeah, I'm hearing a lot more about hantavirus quite recently, and I have discussed about it with one of my family members that whatever happens, there's nothing to worry about. The World Health Organization's got this under control, as well as other health experts. There's going to be precautionary measures being taken to ensure that the spread doesn't go further. And I do believe that, given the lessons we've learned from COVID, to some extent there will be such measures to ensure that everyone is not ill, doesn't show any symptoms, and they aren't on the verge of losing their lives. I know that there are experts out there that will take whatever measures possible to ensure that spread doesn't go further. Whilst even that being the case, somehow, don't know how, and I don't know why. Actually, I do know. Actually, I do know why. Just not sure how they're going to do it. Somehow, someone. I'm not talking about health experts here, even if there are some. There's also going to be someone working in national governments or other international organizations. No matter how much containment and how precautionary these measures are that's being put in place, there's going to be, and it's not guaranteed, nor will it be as severe as what we've been through with COVID. There's going to be some kind of physical measures in public spaces being put in place anyway. I'm talking social distancing, only allowed to go out when absolutely necessary. I'm talking about these. I'm talking about the physical measures that we've been through, that's been put in place during 2020 when COVID was going all over across the globe. And whilst hantavirus is nothing like what COVID is, I think I don't know who doesn't know. I'm not sure. I'm not sure, and I don't know who cannot tell the difference between the two viruses. I know one thing's for sure: hantavirus is primarily spread by physical contact, whilst COVID, last time I checked, was a virus that's airborne, meaning you can be affected with COVID by just breathing the same air as someone that has been showing symptoms of COVID. Hence why the social distancing, wearing the masks so you don't spread the virus any further. Yet somehow, and this is just me, I know everyone's going to have their opinions on these measures. For a virus that's airborne, you can be affected with a virus by breathing the same air as someone in a closed space. What makes people think wearing these disposable masks was going to prevent the spread of the virus of COVID going even further? Wouldn't it make sense to wear gas masks or whatever mask people would wear if entering heavily intoxicating gas-filled areas? I'm just saying, what makes people think wearing disposable masks that we saw during 2020 was going to prevent the spread of COVID if it's an airborne virus? Like, even when wearing the masks that was worn, when we breathe out, particles of COVID, when we breathe out, if we were infected or being diagnosed with COVID, it's still going to go out into enclosed spaces, and then someone that hasn't got COVID would have been infected with COVID anyway. Again, that's just me. I question things too much. I think with Hantavirus, it's not the same. There isn't. I don't believe there's going to be any social distancing. We're not going to see people wearing masks like before. Yet, if there is a rise of confirmed cases of people that's allegedly showing symptoms of hantavirus, surely there's going to be stricter measures put in place given the mortality rate amongst people that has been affected with hantavirus as compared to COVID. Of course, death rates from COVID significantly lower than the mortality rate of hantavirus. Of course, that does not negate or excuse the deaths from COVID that we've seen since the start of this decade. And again, I'm not worried about hantavirus, and I know people in my family aren't worried about hantavirus. I know my family knows a lot about not just from what we've been through with COVID, but I know my family knows about what to do and how to tackle particular waves of viruses and diseases that's going on, if any, in our lifetimes. Even as low as the risk of hantavirus is right now, I'd still believe if cases of hantavirus continues to rise slowly but gradually, governments, nationwide governments, will eventually going to have to make a statement saying the hantavirus is on the rise. We're going to have to put stricter measures to ensure the spread does not go further beyond our borders to other countries and to our communities. I feel like in the next year or two that there will come a point like that if cases continue to gradually rise and shows no sign of decreasing whatsoever. And I've seen social media comments about such social media posts relating to hantavirus saying, "Yeah, I played Plague Inc. before. I know how this goes." And they're right. And even the same set of people would say that they would move to Greenland because if we were to learn anything about Plague Inc., the game where you simulate as a virus or disease spreading across the world, you don't hear much about disease or virus cases in Greenland. Greenland is very isolated from the rest of the world in terms of international travel. So yeah, the more you know. That's a little lesson for you in terms of if you want to just isolate yourself from the rest of the world. Greenland is the place to go. Companies name AI as top reason for job cuts for second straight month. On Thursday, Challenger, Gray and Christmas reported 83,387 layoffs in April, a 38% increase from March, with artificial intelligence cited as the leading driver for the second consecutive month. Technology companies continue to lead all industries in job cuts, with major firms including Google, Amazon, and Meta pouring billions into AI data centers. Meta announced it would slash about 10% of its workforce. Employees attributed 21,490 planned layoffs in April, specifically to AI and automation accounting for over 26% of all cuts, while the government sector announced 9,149, and the pharmaceutical industry reported 7,440. Hiring plans plummeted 69% from March to about 10,000 planned positions, a 38% decline from last April, as the firm concluded hiring will remain muted amid multiple economic factors. An April survey found 18% of US workers fear their jobs could be eliminated by new technology within 5 years, though some experts caution companies may be overstating AI's role to justify broader cost cutting. I was going to say that about over, overestimating the potential power of AI. Of course, I will say I do acknowledge that even though AI, as it stands now, it's not that bright. It can't do tasks as efficiently what humans can do with pinpoint precision. Actually, no, that's AI. The point I'm making is, even though AI now, as it stands now, is not as accurate we think it is, and there are qualities to AI that they don't have, which it is seen by humans. Like we can pinpoint particular details or nuanced concepts that AI is unable to acknowledge right now. The rate in which AI is advancing, although starting gradually, the rate itself is also increasing, meaning we're seeing more AI advancements and improvements at rates much higher within the previous, and I'm taking a wild guess, it's not exact, last few months than the previous decade combined. That's just me. I'm taking a wild guess here. I know there will be AI and technology experts that can give a much exact number. I know for sure that I'm seeing a lot more AI advancements. As stupid as it is now and not as effective as it is right now, there's still a high rate of AI improvements and advancements in the last few months than the previous few years combined. And if that's the case, how much would AI improve and advance in the next few weeks? And then the following weeks after that? And the next few weeks after that? And so on and so forth. And even if there are AI, even if there are artificial intelligence agents that can pull off and do particular tasks at rates that we can't do, or we wouldn't be able to do, the issue from my experience of knowing about AI and listening to audiobooks about AI, the issue isn't about if artificial intelligence fills a position that humans are occupying now. It comes down to decisions made by business owners, CEOs, and executives. Decisions that the aforementioned people would make in regards to delegating tasks that they are supposed to be doing. And the thing is, we could make our own business using AI. I'm seeing loads of social media posts where people that are coders or people that just want to make apps based on vibe coding, they're using AI to make apps that would take years to develop. That's how advanced AI is getting now. And again, I'm still acknowledging the arguments about how AI right now is going to make hiccups. They're not right on the ball. They're not so bright or sharp as or the sharpest tool in certain nuanced aspects like we are now. AI is continuing to advance, and even if there are artificial intelligence that can do jobs that humans are doing now at a faster rate, and to some extent, not always, at pinpoint precisions into details and layouts, and another aspect that I can't think of right now. It comes down to how many people are willing to use AI tools to better propel in their profession, to use AI tools to make their jobs easier. That's what's important to note. Yes, AI can do jobs at faster rates than humans can do. What's important to note is, would business owners, CEOs, and executives, are they willing to ditch their human workforce and replace them with artificial intelligence? If the answer is yes, then of course, yes, AI is taking over the jobs that you're working in. that does not mean that all businesses are going to do that. At least for now, I don't believe there are any laws saying, oh, there aren't any laws that I know of right now that has a minimum capacity or there should be a minimum number of human workers in a business. Even though laws like that aren't going to come in the next few years, I know for sure that proposals or attempts of proposals of such laws where you should have this number of humans working for a business if most of your workforce is artificial intelligence, there will come a point where such a push for such laws will be made, either at a national level or at a subdivisional level. For now, all we can do is say that AI is not as good as what people make them out to be. Even if it can get the job done, that doesn't mean it can do the job well. At least right now, it can't do the job well. AI can improve for itself if people are willing. Actually, no, they won't. No, they won't. If there are people that are making artificial intelligence agents be able to learn for itself to the point it could then become artificial general intelligence, then yeah, I think that at that point, tech experts and tech companies should start to worry about how AI would continue to advance. If we ever get to a point, there is such a thing and such a concept of artificial general intelligence, which isn't the smartest entity that exists. However, it is smarter than just standard artificial intelligence. I think the moment we get to the point of generating artificial general intelligence, AGI, then there should be some tech experts and at least some tech companies that should start to have concerns and take precautionary measures into how they advance with artificial intelligence as a whole. And that is it for the episode.